Hey guys, welcome back to another reading. And today we're going to be talking about how spirit is about to surprise you. And today we have a beautiful selection of seashells for you guys to choose from. So if you're used to this channel, you know the drill. You can just make up your mind and then scroll down to the timestamps in the comments in the description and jump right into your pile. If you're new to this channel, welcome. I'm so happy to have you here. And basically, you're going to use your intuition to see which of these seashells really stands out to you, calls your attention and energy in towards it. And then as soon as you've made up your mind, you can scroll down to the timestamps in the comments and the description and jump right into your pile. We have the first one is that orange colored seashell. The second one is the green colored seashell. And the third one is the white or cream colored seashell. I do want to mention to you guys that I do have my Patreon up with a ton of additional readings. So if you like how I read tarot, be sure to check out the links underneath the timestamps in the comments in the description to see my Patreon. When you sign up, you will get access to over 60 additional readings about love, relationships, money, career, spirituality, relocation. There are so many different topics to go through. I just posted one all about what is waiting for you. And before that, I posted a platonic no contact reading. So if you're missing someone who's like a friend, a family member, that's a great one to watch. But like I said, there's like every topic under the sun over on Patreon. So if you'd like to join me over there, I would absolutely love to have you. And the link for that is underneath the timestamps in the comments and the description. And if you guys would like to get a private one-on-one reading with me, you can also get that at my website, briarrosetarot.com, and you can sign up for a half hour or a full hour-long session with me, have me pull tarot for you, read your astrology, channel mediumship, or intuitively for you. You can ask me about career, about love, a year ahead reading. You can just do a little energy check-in. Basically, you get to pretty much ask me what you want within reason, of course. But if you would like to get a reading with me, then head to my website, briarrosetarot.com, and the link for that is in my description. I'd love to do a reading for you. So with all of that being said, guys, if you need more time to decide, you can totally feel free to rewind, pause, and take as much time as you need. But we're going to go ahead and jump into pile one. Hey pile one, welcome to your reading. Let's get into your first card. So you guys got Feast of Plenty, choices and their consequences, Spirit of the River, movement towards adventure, and Magician's Sword, confidence in your magic. So right off the bat, we have a huge wealth and abundance card coming out right over here, this Feast of Plenty card. I feel like whatever you guys put on your vision board, if you cut out images from a magazine or you've imagine some kind of scene in your head of what you want your life to look like, you are going to get exactly that. And what I'm seeing for a lot of you guys might be a much more open schedule where you're able to like decide how you spend your day, decide how you spend your time. You might not be working like a typical 9-to-5 job where you're expected to be in the office at a certain time and expected to, clock in and have a very rigid type of schedule. I feel like a lot of you guys, like I said, you might be able to really make your own schedule and spend time doing the things you love. For some of you guys, it might even be leaving your job behind and, if you have like kids or something, becoming a stay-at-home mom or something like that. But I feel like it's like you're going to be kind of in shock of like, I can't believe I actually pulled this off. I can't believe I actually did all this, and I can't believe that this is my lifestyle. I feel like there's a lot more freedom, like I said, in how you're spending your time. You guys might be able to travel a lot more and actually go to different countries and do things that you really love, or you might just be living a lifestyle that kind of seems like being on vacation. Like you might live by the beach where a lot of people end up vacationing at, but that's your daily life. Is you can be like, oh, let's go for a walk down to the beach and let's have snow cones on the beach. And for everyone else, that's like a once a year event, but for you, that's like your morning routine, or you might just have that kind of free time that a lot of people can only dream of or think of as like a once a year type of event of like, oh, we can chill and relax now. And your life is very chilled out, very relaxed, and just you know, not a lot of stress for you. So let's get into the tarot. Of course, I love the tarot, so we got to get into it. So we got the World card, the Ten of Wands, Three of Pentacles, Ace of Pentacles. I don't know why I said that. The Hermit card and the Page of Cups. So I think it's super interesting that we got the Hermit card reversed. That's really sticking out to me right off the bat, because if some of you guys have been lonely or you have been wanting to like meet your person, you might be really surrounded by loved ones, by people who are really close to you. You might be finding your person, and that might be part of this. For some of you guys, I could definitely see this being a vibe of like a stay-at-home mom or something like that, someone who might be very engaged in like day-to-day activities and stuff, but not working a 9 to 5 job. Of course, this doesn't have to be the energy for everyone, but if you have been like spending a lot of time alone or craving more friends or more close relationships of some kind, then I do feel like that's going to come into your energy field in the future. And you also may be seeking out more hobbies, more things that interest you. It feels like this is just a more full life. And you know, I kind of feel like a lot of you guys are like not recognizing yourself. Like you're like, oh my gosh, I love this routine. I love that I wake up in the morning and I drive my kids over to drop them off at, I don't know, the playhouse or something, whatever you drop kids off at. I don't know, at the pool or something. And then I'm gonna go get a latte, and then I'm gonna come back, pick up the kids from their swim lessons, and then I'm gonna go you know, I don't know, we're gonna go all play at the park and I'm working out while they're playing or something. Like I feel like there's this whole routine around it. And again, of course, I know not everyone wants kids, not everyone wants that kind of a lifestyle. So of course you're never going to be forced by spirit to like have kids against your will or something. I mean, I guess sometimes that can happen in your life, but whatever kind of a life path you guys choose, I just feel like your schedule is going to be busy and you're going to be very fulfilled by it. I feel like you guys are going to actually really like this, even though maybe there was a time in your life when you were like, I don't think I want that, or that's too traditional for me, or I don't know if that's for me. I feel like you're going to be like, oh, this is really amazing and this really works for me. For some of you guys, this may be living internationally. I just saw the image of like London or England, but it was from like the 1960s Disney movies. I love them. Obviously, I love Sleeping Beauty. A lot of you guys have mentioned that, Briar Rose, Aurora. But anyway, I love that whole aesthetic of like 1960s Disney movies, and they set a lot of those in London, England. It doesn't have to be England, but maybe you guys might be moving abroad or just traveling a lot or moving somewhere else. I feel like it's funny because even though I feel like you guys are very busy, there's like a peacefulness. So even though your schedule may be stacked, it doesn't feel like you have as much stress. Maybe you're not worried so much about how to pay the bills. Maybe you guys are, you know, financially pretty stable and set. And even though you might have other worries or concerns, it's not as pressing as like, oh my God, I have to come up with this amount of money, or we're going to be evicted, or kind of those really upsetting worries to have to deal with. I feel like there's, like I said, this sense of peace and calm about how you guys are going to handle everything, and not really having to make that worry about finances a central priority in your life. And another energy here that we see is this Three of Pentacles, and there's a connection to school here. So some of you guys might be graduating from school, choosing to go back to school. Honestly, I could see this being a vibe of someone who's actually in school and just has like a busy schedule, but it's one that they enjoy. It kind of gives them some freedom. They're not having to worry about bills as much. And there's a strong, heavy energy around like organization for this pile. I feel like a lot of you guys in this pile, you might be pivoting to being a lot more organized and having your ish together on such a deep level. So if you're in school, you might be that girl that has like the perfectly color coordinated pencil set and matching notebook, you know what I mean? Or the beautiful bag that they carry with them to school, and they always look good. They don't have a hair out of place when they head to class. So if some of you guys have been in energy of having things be in a little bit of disorder or a little bit of a mess, or you've been having trouble like keeping things, you know, organized nice and in place and keeping your kitchen looking spotless or whatever, that might be pivoting and you might be changing into really embracing. I feel like a lot of you guys are going to be embracing a higher version, almost like your highest potential. I do think sometimes people can carry trauma around being seen or getting too much attention, because we do know like that perfect girl gets a lot of hate and attention, or yeah, negative attention, right? Like think about Elle Woods when she arrives at Harvard. I always think that scene is so iconic when she's in that full pink leather outfit and everyone's gathered around and they're like, oh, look at Barbie and stuff. But now we have the Barbie movie, like, Barbie, we love how perfect she is. But the thing is, there's a lot of hate whenever you're that person, people who might be jealous or people who, just might not vibe with it for whatever reason. And I think sometimes people can hold themselves back from reaching their highest potential because they're like, oh, I don't want that smoke. I don't want people mad at me. They might have negative associations with it. They might have, been told by their parents that someone like that is fake or something. So they kind of keep themselves smaller. And of course, it's not to say that that's the only way to look or be is like Barbie or something. Definitely not. But I feel like sometimes, it's whatever our highest version of ourself looks like. It's being, really living a lifestyle that we're really proud of, or doing a routine that makes us feel happy. Honestly, it's funny because before this reading, I was thinking like, oh, I'm just so sick of having long nails and maybe I'll just go back to natural nails. And to be honest with you, since I have my nails back, I'm like, I feel so much better. And I know that's so small, but sometimes it's so small things that can bring us confidence. Now, if I wasn't having to like film my actual hands all the time, I don't know if I would have, worry so much about my nails. But my point is that for whatever that is for you, sometimes it's doing something small, something that, maybe no one else even notices, but it makes us feel confident or whatever. And I feel like a lot of you guys are going to be embracing that, and you're going to be taking like small steps and doing small things to make yourself feel really good and to make yourself feel high vibrational in whatever way this is. So you might become someone who's like, oh, I got to go to the gym every day. I always feel good after I work out, or getting a new wardrobe to make yourself feel your most confident version of yourself, or getting your hair done, whatever the case may be. And there's like, with that new confidence, I feel like you guys are willing to be seen more and go out and, be out and about and meet people and kind of like present yourself more to the world. We do have the world card, and the world card can definitely represent being seen on a public stage in some way. It can represent people observing us and being the center of attention. And it's also about really sticking to a goal. We have all the fixed signs represented on the world card. We have Taurus, Leo, Scorpio, and Aquarius. So, with that fixed energy, it's kind of like, I'm doing it. It's like, I don't care what anyone else says. I'm doing this. This is my decision. And I feel like there's almost something about you embracing something that maybe in the past people might have tried to dissuade you from, or people might have tried to make you feel bad about. And it doesn't have to be like one thing in particular. It could be like a lifestyle. It could be a vibe or an energy, or just something you want to do that everyone else is kind of like, what? Oh, well, I don't know about that. And I feel like it really is for you guys about embracing your highest potential. So stepping into like, yeah, I do want to look this way and I don't care what you have to say about it. Or I do want to have this kind of a job and I don't care what you have to say. Or you know what? I'm doing something that kind of scares me. So it could be like, you want to work in fashion, but everyone around you is like, oh my God, like fashion's so competitive. There's no way you can get that job. And you just keep applying your resume out and sending it out and applying at different jobs. And then you get a little internship and that's your foot in the door. And then next thing you know, you're working in the fashion industry, It's never too late to reinvent yourself. I do feel like the major energy with this pile is like not even recognizing yourself, like some kind of a major pivot that in the past you guys have been too afraid to make. Something that you're like, oh yeah, I don't want really anyone to judge me. I don't really want to hear what people say. So I feel like a lot of this was like fueled by negativity by others, like people in your life who have been like, oh, pile one, like, you shouldn't do that, or that's cringe, or, you know, I saw something on TikTok and someone said, you know, it's always the people that will make fun of you for taking photos that will call you the next night and be like, hey, do you have any pictures? And that is the truest statement ever. And it's actually really deep and sums up a lot of stuff, right? Like, it's always the hater that then will be like, oh, by the way, that's really cool, you know, and can you help me with this? I mean, I've experienced this in life. I've had friends who like made fun of me for certain things, and then later on they'd be like, oh, and by the way, could you tell me about this? I was thinking. Sometimes someone's jealous because they don't even think they could do that. They know they couldn't have that possibility for themselves. So my point is for you guys to like, I think you're really going to be not giving much of whatever about what these people have to say about you anymore. Like, you're going to be like, okay, you think that, God bless, live your life, but I'm going to live my life, and it's not going to really affect you anymore. So you're going to have much more freedom to choose exactly what you want. And then I think once you embrace that, there's like this unstoppable energy about this pile. There's this energy of like really being happy and really being like, I did it. Like, I'm so happy. It reminds me, again, I keep seeing Elle Woods. I don't know if you guys love that movie or you just have her vibe. I love Elle Woods though. She's such an iconic character. And I love when, like, you know, when she's going to see that list of names to who got the internship, and she walks up and she's reading over the names, and then she just screams like, me, really loud, and everyone's staring at her, and she just has this like crazy look on her face. I feel like that's the moment though, when like you worked so hard on something, you tried for it so much, you might have gotten all this judgment and people like scorning you, but you did it, and it's just like nothing beats that satisfaction of, you know, we did that. I did that. And I feel like for you guys, that's what you're going to get. It's almost like proving people wrong. And being that girl or that guy, being that person that everyone is like, oh my God, pile one, how did you do this? And the hater is having to come to you and be like, oh my gosh, by the way, you know, I always liked you. I always thought what you were doing was so cool. I'm so glad to see you, the success you've had. And you're like, no, you definitely didn't feel that way. So yeah, I think you're going to be getting some people's attention. And you know what's funny is they just showed me people from your past possibly coming back and contacting you once they see the true level of success you have with this and being like, oh, wow, pile one, like let me get back in contact with you. Or like, it's so funny how those people will usually, like the biggest haters, they'll be like, oh my gosh, no, I always supported you, I knew you could do it. And it's like, no, you didn't. But yeah, I feel like you might have people coming back from your past when you really reach the success. So let's get into some of these cards. So we got friendship, transformation, and family. It's interesting we got transformation because that's what I keep mentioning and saying, is just I feel there's this massive transformation of your identity and things you've been almost like afraid to step into your full power, and it's like you're gonna fully step into it. You're not gonna hold yourself back anymore. And then I love how it's sandwiched with two relationship cards, friendship and family. So you're going to be surrounded by a lot more people who really love you, really appreciate you, and really think what you're doing is so cool. With the friendship card, I do feel like there's an energy of, again, getting a lot more friends, having a lot more people, being more plugged into some kind of community. And with family as well, again, I saw at the beginning of this reading, for some of you guys, this could be an energy of being like a stay-at-home mom, or something like that, or having a child if that's something you guys want. Even if you were to stay working, or you're not going to be like a full stay-at-home mom and, you know, not have a career in the outside world, but you might be like working at a job that gives you a really flexible schedule where you're able to be at home with your kids a lot, spend a lot of time with them. And I just heard in my mind proving everyone wrong. So again, I feel like that's that same energy. But yeah, I think a lot of people are going to be surprised by the fact that you made this happen for yourself, and by the fact that you actually did it. It's almost like you've been talking a lot of game, or people are perceiving it as that. Like, they're like, okay, I know you said you could do this, but I didn't actually think you were actually going to fully follow through on this and actually make it happen. And I feel like a lot of people are going to be kind of taken aback some of you guys could be like opening a new business or starting a side hustle or even just pursuing a passion that really pays off. Like, it's so interesting how you'll see people on TikTok who were just randomly interested in something. Like, I love that girl. I think her name is Karen Joy, and her interior design stuff. And she makes actually a lot of fake food, which is so cool. Obviously, I'm a huge fan of that. Love that. I feel like fake food in all things is kind of having a moment. I just love it. So maybe we'll get more home decor that's actually just fake food items. I have a few, but I would love to see like much more furniture available that's like fake food. So anyway, she does a lot of stuff with that, and it's cool because again, I think sometimes someone just pursues their interests and there doesn't seem to be a market at the time, but then other people are like, no, I love that too. Like, she likes fake food. Obviously, I like fake food, um and it's cool to see that like actually a lot of people respond to it. Maybe before people weren't really having conversations around it, but I feel like there's a lot of enthusiasm for it. So it's funny how something you might think of as just like, oh, a niche interest that only I really am into, it's just something weird. Um, a lot of people will respond to it. So I think she's built a really strong career with her interior design out of crafting these items. And sometimes it's just pursuing like a quirky thing that no one else has the vision for that can lead you to a lot of success. Because I think she's doing really well with her interior decorating career. Let's get into some astrology dice for pile number 01. Okay, what energies do we have? Why is this not a... Oh my God, double Pluto and Scorpio. Why is that not a surprise at all? I keep saying transformation, major transformation, and we have Pluto, which is the sign of the Phoenix, the most major transformation. Let me get one more house placement as well, since I always like to spin twice when we get doubles. First house. Okay, love that. House of identity. So we have Scorpio, Aquarius, Aries energies coming through. Scorpio is all about transformation. Scorpio is all about rebirth, death and rebirth, kind of like ending one thing and starting on another. And Scorpio really understands that deeply, that death is not the end, it's just the new chapter. So if some of you guys have been feeling called to change your identity in some way, to make some real changes, or kind of like, yeah, I kind of was thinking of changing up my style, but people might think I'm weird or fake that I'm doing this, or they might not like it, I don't know what people are going to say about it, then rest assured that I feel like the right people are going to find this, and that I feel like the best chance you have for connecting to people is being your truest, most authentic self. So actually I think people are going to so respond to you kind of transforming or shifting. And this might not be in, sometimes we think about having to break expectations and it's very limited to like, oh, you have to go from being that football player to being the guy wearing the dark leather jacket in the back of the classroom. But sometimes it's the opposite. Sometimes it's you've always been the guy in the leather jacket in the back of the classroom and you want to be the head football player. You want to be the quarterback. And either way you're moving into giving yourself that permission to be your highest version of yourself and to be your truest version of what your soul is calling you is really what life is all about. Whether you're going from Elle Woods when she was like learning how to study, or maybe the opposite, Elle Woods when she was studying and she suddenly wants to go and be a sorority girl in California, whichever. There's not one way to glow up or to change or to be, there's not one way of being authentic and all the rest are fake. Sometimes, sometimes it doesn't look like what that typical narrative is. Sometimes you're like, you know what? I actually love having blonde hair and extensions. And sometimes you're like, you know what? I actually hate having blonde hair and extensions. It's totally up to you. So I feel like a lot of you guys are really being called to think about what your highest version of your life would look like for you, and then stepping into that, not second guessing or keeping yourself small so other people feel comfortable or fitting along with a certain narrative that's expected from you, but really doing yourself. And the other Mars ruled sign according to ancient astrology, well, this one's ancient astrology, this one's modern astrology, is Aries. So we have two Mars ruled signs, and I think both Mars ruled signs, what I love about them is they just are so self-centered in a way, but not in a bad way. But they're so about I want. And I have a lot of Scorpios in my life, and one thing I kind of love about them is if they don't like someone, most of the time they don't even hide it. Like, they do not hide it. They don't care if you're like, I think that person was offended, or if their feelings were hurt, they're like, okay. Like, couldn't care less. And I kind of really respect that, though, about Scorpios and Aries, is because they're just not fake. They're so authentic. If they're hanging out with you, then they really want to. And I think in general in life, you guys are being called to really start cutting away the things that aren't serving you, the things that aren't authentic to you, and the things that aren't really resonating with you, the things that don't feel like, yeah, this feels like my future. And kind of like being called to be more truthful and more bold and just say it how you feel it, like not worrying about, well, how is someone going to take this? I think Aries energy is so, that's why, Venus is debilitated in Aries, but Aries is so selfish in that way. But that's what I love about it. I actually have some Aries placements, and wherever Aries is in my chart, like my third house and stuff, I'm like, I don't care what people have. I don't care how you're going to receive it. I don't care what people, like, it doesn't bother me if someone's upset. I just don't care. And I think that's like the superpower of Aries. It's where the sun is exalted, because it truly is that, like, doing what we're supposed to do in this lifetime, which is thinking about us, not worrying about what this person's going to say, that person's going to say. So I think a lot of you guys just need to make sure that you're really living your life on your own terms. Then we have Aquarius. Aquarius rules the 11th house of other people. It also rules the house of hopes, wishes, and dreams being fulfilled. So again, there's this major energy around you guys that you can achieve whatever it is you want. You can really have whatever you want. You're an unstoppable, beautiful, powerful force of life. So get your mind on it. That's why I love that phrase, put my mind on it, then I put my grind on it. But you got to get your mind on it first. You got to figure out what you want and then start making those moves. So I feel like if you haven't made a vision board, this may be your call to make that vision board, or to keep it in your mind, or to revisit it, or to make sure you're checking in with it and being like, yeah, that's what I really want. Yep, that's what I really want. And that you're not, sometimes someone even makes a vision board, but they're like, oh, I shouldn't ask for that. Oh, that's wrong. Well, I'm a spiritual person. I shouldn't ask for money, or I'm, a nice person. So I shouldn't say I just want like a person who looks like this, or blah, blah. Like, I can't be shallow. Like, and it's like, no, I mean, if you want something, if you really, really want something, and it's in a deep alignment with you, and that's truly what your heart desires on its deepest level, then that's what you should ask for. And you shouldn't worry about others judging you, or others thinking it's lame, or others thinking it's, grabby, or whatever they may think. Make sure that it's right for you. So anyways, that is what I have for you guys. Pile number 1. I really hope it resonated. Let me know if it did in the comments. You know how much I love hearing from you guys. Love hearing your thoughts and stories, all of that. So let me know. Also, make sure to give this reading a thumbs up. Hit the like button if it did resonate with you, and make sure to subscribe. Turn those notifications on. Hit the little bell so you can find out as soon as I post next. And if you guys want to see more of my readings, then be sure to head to my Patreon to see all my additional readings. Over 60 readings about love, spirituality, career, relocation. I just posted one all about what is waiting for you. And the one before that is all about a platonic, no contact situation, what they have to say, what they want you to know. But like I said, as soon as you sign up, you'll get access to all of them. So we have readings about past lives, future lives, spirituality, love, relationships, 18 plus readings, tipsy readings. There's lots of content over there. So if you would like to join me, I'd love to have you. And the link for that is underneath the timestamps in the comments in the description. And if you guys want to get a private one-on-one reading with me, you can also get that at my website, briarrosetarot.com. You can sign up for a half hour or a full hour reading with moi. You can have me pull tarot for you, read your astrology, channel mediumship or intuitively. And yeah, you can ask me about love, career, year ahead, energy check-in, basically whatever you want within reason. But yeah, so if you want a reading with me, then just go to my website, briarrosetarot.com. Link is in my description for that as well. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I am sending you so much love and light, and I'll see you guys very soon again in another reading. Take care, guys. Bye. Hey, pile two, welcome to your reading. So, for your first cards, you guys got Heart, Home, Compassion, a tidy house, clarity and organization, and Dust Devil, moving out of stagnation. So, with Heart, Home leading off this reading, we can see that there's very likely a romantic relationship that you guys are going to be surprised by. And I feel like this person is coming through almost like a friend. It could also be a friendship, but this is going to be someone that I feel like you're going to just love spending time with. You're going to be able to laugh with them. You guys are probably going to have a lot of the same interests, and communication is just going to flow really easily. You guys aren't going to have to like struggle or go through a really awkward phase of not really being able to talk to each other or being weird with each other. So again, it could be a friend, but I feel like there's something about this person that is most likely romantic, probably going to really patch up your heart in some way, or make you believe in love again, or make you feel optimistic about the world again. If you've been feeling really lonely or kind of stuck, it might be that being around this person just really makes you realize that the world is a beautiful place and how abundant the universe is, and that whenever one door closes, another can open, and that, if someone isn't for us in that moment, that there's always going to be someone else that can take that person's place. So I feel like this person's role in your life is to really remind you of how much endless possibility you have and not to be closed off. So if you're like, oh, I don't really want to meet anyone, I don't want to go out lately, then this person might kind of come into your life to shake things up and make you be like, you know what? Life can be so fun. Going to the movies is so fun, and going out to eat and spending the day browsing in and out of shops is so much fun. And just really to kind of turn your frown upside down. This person, I feel like, is going to be someone that really you have such a positive feeling with. And even if you guys do break up or you guys go your separate ways at some point, it doesn't feel like there's going to be a lot of bitterness and pain or anger with this person, because I feel like at the end of the day, you guys are just so on each other's same page. If you do have like a best friend, or this could even be like a sibling, like a sister or a brother that you absolutely love spending time with, it could be that you guys are just going to spend a day together, and it's really going to remind you of how, like I said, special life is and how happy you are to be around the people that you really love. But I feel like you're going to feel a lot more love around you in the future, and it might surprise you. You might realize, like, I've been really missing this, or I've been missing social interaction, or you know what, I need to kind of seek that out a little bit more in the future, or be more like dedicated to finding that in my life and make that a priority for me, and really get out of my comfort zone in that way. For some of you guys, you might also be being surprised by like a new house. You might be surprised by a new living situation. And I'm hearing that it may come together very quickly. So it may be that like you're looking and you're looking and you can't find anything, and then you find the perfect place, and next thing you know, you like contact the person and you're like, oh, is it still available? Like, I'm sure it's going to be gone. And they're like, oh yeah, it is. And you want to apply? And you're like, yeah. And you apply that day, get approved that the next day. And you're moving in within 3 days, and you're like, oh my God, okay. I was looking for a place for months, and suddenly the energy shifted. But I feel like you're going to really like this new place. And like I said, it may be a move. I feel like there's an energy for you that your guides are really calling on you to be more kind of like out in the world, or to be more almost, what's the word I'm trying to think of? Like forthright, or almost like aggressive, like seeking out things and not being so afraid. Or if you guys have been in hermit mode for a while, we got this Dust Devil moving out of stagnation card. So if you've been like really staying at home a lot lately, I feel like you may be surprised by how beautiful life is when you actually get out there. Like, I think, I mentioned this in another reading, but it's like whenever I end up kind of hermiting for a little bit, or I'm sick and I can't, go anywhere, it's always funny because you kind of find yourself weirdly getting anxiety. Like, you find yourself being like, oh, like, I don't know, now I have to go to the store, like I look bad, and I have I've been sick and I haven't left, I haven't seen anyone, and this is now I have to talk to all these strangers. But then you find yourself being like, oh my gosh, it's so nice to be outside. It's so nice to be in the sun. So I feel like maybe there's something like that for you guys with like putting yourself out there more and just being surprised and delighted by how many opportunities come your way. You might find that when you do decide to, put yourself out there, that you really get along with the person, and you come up to someone at a coffee shop and you're nervous, like, I want to start a conversation with someone, but I don't know. I want to make a new friend, and this person looks really nice, but they're probably going to think I'm a weirdo. So you start talking to them, and they're instantly like receptive, and they're like, yeah, I'd love to hang out, or the conversation just flows easily. Or you might find that you go out to a restaurant and they end up giving you like a free appetizer, or, like, yeah, someone wants to like help you. I know one time I was traveling in a foreign country and I didn't speak the language. I ate at this restaurant and one of the waiters spoke English. So afterwards I was like, I know this is like a weird question, but can I ask you if there's anywhere that has this local food nearby? And he was like, oh yeah, you could go to this place or that place. And I was like, thank you so much. You're so helpful. And then I left. And I was like walking away from the restaurant, and then I hear like someone screaming, excuse me. And I'm like, oh my God, did I not pay? Did like, was there something like sometimes, they'll tell you like, oh, something happened with your credit card, or we didn't run it through all the way, or, so I was like, am I in trouble? Like that was my first thought. And he was like, oh, excuse me, like I wanted to get your info and I'm happy to like text you and give you any more recommendations. So, we ended up exchanging numbers, and he was so helpful, directed me to all these places that were amazing. And, sometimes it's just that matter of like asking someone and them being shocked by the blessing that happens, being shocked that they like want to engage with you even more. So I feel like there's a message for you about whatever this is. Could definitely be social. It could also be having to do with like your work, your business, your career. I think sometimes people hold themselves back being like, oh, I don't want to put too much out there. Like I think most YouTubers would say, like we probably went through a stage where we're like, oh, I don't want to like inundate people with content. But you find that the more content you put out, people love it, like you're like, oh, what if I post this? I just posted a video the other day, and then someone's like, oh my gosh, that was so awesome, post another one. And they love that you're posting more, so I think sometimes we think we have to like edit, hold ourselves back. So whether this is work, whether it's relationships, I feel like it's kind of like a message for you to like full send it, go all the way. Don't just like do it half measure, but to really push yourself to put it out there. And I think you're going to be surprised by how receptive people are and how much they like what you guys are doing. That especially socially, they just really might like you. So let's get into some tarot. So we got the Magician, the Judgment card, the Eight of Swords, the Emperor, the Page of Cups, and the Knight of Wands. So with the Page of Cups and the Knight of Wands, these can definitely be romantic cards. These can definitely be charming people who are flirty and fun and charismatic, very charismatic and easy to talk to, easy to get along with, that you just really vibe really well with. But I also feel like with the Magician, again, it's kind of that reminder that you can direct this energy at will. Like you have this power in you to create whatever you want. So it's not just limited to like relationships. It's kind of like, how you flirt and charm someone when you really like them. You might like bat your eyelashes and be like, oh my gosh, thank you. And like, oh my God, I love your hat, and try to say flirty things. It's kind of like, I know this is a weird metaphor, but it just came to me. You can do this with the universe. You know what I mean? You can kind of like flirt with an idea, or you can, when you really like someone and you're crushing on them and you start thinking about them all the time, you're kind of conjuring that up. That's why people say water signs can have a lot of charisma and have like a mystique to them. And I think a lot of that is probably just because water signs tend to be in their head and kind of in the spiritual realm, and they kind of unleash, like Scorpios especially will unleash their power on someone, but Pisces and Cancers do it too, so it's kind of like when you want something, you just start thinking on it. And water signs have that intensity with the spiritual realm. So they'll just, think and think and think and think. And the next thing they know, they're manifesting it, and then it happens. And we can do that with like work. We can do that with life. We can do that with anything we want. We can do that with a job or a move or anything. But but I feel like it's a message for you to like go for it, you know, not to be like half-hearted about it. With this Knight of Wands, this can also be a message about really, you know, the Knight of Wands is never afraid. The Knight of Wands just is running in full speed ahead, going for it. It is a Knight card, not a Page card, so it's a little bit more mature than the Page. So it's not quite as young or immature or as hasty, but it is going to attack with full force and full intensity. And this is the route to the King of Wands. So you only get to reach that king level when you like go for it aggressively. We also have the Emperor, which relates to Aries, and it's that Mars energy of pushing after something and going for it with all your power and all your might, and not second guessing yourself, not even being self-conscious, but just doing it, just attacking it, taking it on. So if there's something you guys are wanting, whether it's a move, an item, for some of you guys, I just heard adopting a dog actually, then I feel like this message is all about like not really getting in your head. Like maybe, you know, I think it's funny, like so many of, I always mention her because I think her chart is so interesting and she's such a success, but Danielle Steele, because she's such a prolific author and she puts out like endless amounts of books. She puts out like 3 books a year. And when she wrote her like writing schedule, it's literally insane. She works for like 28 hours at a time, something crazy, sleeps for 4 hours, then wakes up and works again. Now she has a giant Leo stellium, and I think that has a lot to do with her ability to just maintain this level of energy. I wouldn't necessarily recommend that energy schedule for like a Pisces placement or a Libra or some of the, you know, Taurus or Cancer that might need a little more sleep. But I do think that there's something to be said for that energy and that willingness, that boldness that a lot of fire signs have to just put things out there and not be afraid, you know, just to kind of trust that it is going to be received well, and that I'm just going to do it because I'm feeling called to do it, and not being like, oh my gosh, is this too much? Am I coming on too strong? Is this too aggressive? But just burning through something. I mean, that's how fire can be so like destructive and powerful when it wants, or, you know, obviously it's not necessarily got like a mind, I guess, but when fire decides to like take over a building, it can take it over in seconds. You know, it doesn't second guess itself the way the other signs might. And so I feel like for you guys, there's this willingness that you need to like be bold about whatever it is, or be bold even about life. Like make sure that you're not staying away in your room and not really interacting with the world, or not really putting yourself out there. Like if you want to date, then you need to, you know, put yourself out there in some way, even if you're just online dating and checking the apps a couple times a week or whatever, you know, or maybe going out to a bar and actually getting dressed up and actually kind of flirting with someone, or just going for a little walk and going to like a cute restaurant and actually sitting down and, you know, experiencing that. Either way, I feel like, you know, we're put in this world to experience the world, and there is this message for you about needing to be a little less afraid with whatever you want and just go for it and stop kind of being in your head about it. So let's get into some of these cards as well. So we got happiness, peace, and financial health. So there is a message for a lot of you guys that you could be really successful at whatever this is. So whether it's a relationship you want, it's like you might be one of those people that just, even if it's been a while since you dated, that you might be like a natural fit for relationships and really good at making them happen, you know? You might be a great flirt and like great at like attracting people. And if you're wanting to do something with your career, if you're wanting to, like, back to that Danielle Steele metaphor, write a book, maybe stop second guessing it and thinking about the idea in your head and going back and forth about maybe I should write this. No, that's bad. You know, that's a horrible idea. I should write this instead, and editing it and re-editing it and just send it out or self-publish it or whatever with it, you know? Or whether it's another career thing. Like I know I could like re-edit my YouTube videos until the cows came home, right? There's always, I'm sure, something I could find in it that's, you know, like not said exactly right, or not quite filmed the way I wanted, or something off slightly. But ultimately, I'm like, you know what? it has to be kind of good enough at a certain level, right? And sometimes I honestly think that raw honesty is the best thing. And I'm sure you guys would rather have me put out videos regularly rather than put out like one video a year that was like the masterpiece of edited tarot, you know? So I think sometimes, like maybe with you, whatever this is, it's like spirit is just kind of calling on you to like be a little less self-conscious and a little less nitpicky about yourself, and to be a little bit more willing to just go for it. And then I feel like you're going to be surprised by the level of success you reach, and you're going to be surprised by how easily it happens. You might be like, dang, people really like my work. Like, you might release a book and it gets a huge amount of sales on Amazon the first week. Or you might you know, put out a YouTube video and it does really well for you and your channel starts growing. You might start a relationship, and before you know it, the person is like, I'm really serious about you. I want to be exclusive. And, you know, and it happens within not seconds, but I guess to the universe, it happens within seconds. To us, human time, it happens within months or weeks, but it happens really fast, or days, you know. But I feel like a lot of you guys are going to be surprised that you really have something that's really positive here. There's something in this. There's something to be explored here. And I just feel like a lot of you guys in this pile hold yourselves back, and you don't kind of give yourselves the credit that you deserve. You might spend a lot of time in your head second guessing, going back and forth, being like, am I good enough? And meanwhile, the people who are just like delusionally convincing themselves they're good enough are like already left the finish line. You know what I mean? They're halfway around the track, and you're sitting there deliberating. Like, imagine if someone had, you know, instead of like at a track meet, if they were like, okay, ready, set, go. And the person, instead of just taking off racing and going as fast as they could, they just sat there being like, okay, I don't know if I'm good enough for this. I'm going to put one foot in front of the other. I think I'll start with the left foot. But I have to like cut down my time going around that corner. And then, but like, I don't know, my sneakers, instead of actually just racing, you know what I mean? Like, obviously they're going to lose that race when they might have had a very high likelihood of winning, but that second guessing will, you know, take you out of the running every single time. So there's really a message for you if you guys have been deliberating, if you've been in your head about something, going back and forth, that like, just do it. The time is now. That's why I love that slogan, just do it, because it's so perfect. You know, sometimes it's just about getting up, getting it done, not being a perfectionist, not thinking that everything has to be exactly right, but just trusting that it's like, honestly, it's good enough is actually a good phrase. I know that sounds lazy, but just good enough will will make you get so much more things done than trying to be perfect. I used to be a real perfectionist, and it would totally paralyze me, and I wouldn't be able to, like, you know, finish things, or I would like agonize about them. I actually in college turned in a lot of papers like a day late, and basically in my department, philosophy, I think they're used to people like like having these kind of mental struggles over papers and like agonizing over them. So they had a policy that they would dock 10% each day it was late. So I would regularly turn in papers a day late, and they would usually do pretty well. So I would usually get like, you know, an 89 or an 85 or whatever, but I couldn't get the point. I never got the points I was, I mean, this wasn't every time, it was a few times, but I look back now and I'm like, that's so insane. I should have just turned it in that day. And if I know myself, I probably had it almost like finished, but I would be like, oh, I'm just gonna edit it again, I'm just gonna, and then I probably wouldn't even edit it. I'd probably just be like, no, it's, you know what, it's already been a day, let me just turn it in. And that's, I think so many of us do stuff like that about life. Like, we think one day we're going to be this perfect person, and maybe tomorrow I'm just going to be this super organized person and get it exactly right, when we should just be like, you know what, I think it's done, I think it's finished, here it is, and probably it'll be pretty good, you know. So yeah, I think, like, to me personally, I think YouTube is a perfect example of this. I don't know if everyone here is the same way. I would watch YouTube 10 times over 10 before I would watch any kind of scripted movie, TV show. I know not everyone feels the same way, but for me, I just love the rawness of a lot of YouTube. Like the fact that it is filmed really quick. It's not super edited. It's not written by a script. It's not written by a team of people who are like running it through testing audiences and being like, oh, we shouldn't say that because we shouldn't write that scene in because that scene isn't PC quite enough, and that one might anger our advertiser about this, so we can't mention that company. It's like you can just feel the stagnancy, you know, you can just feel the like the effort, you know what I mean? It just feels like it's like this slow, tough like thing when it comes out in the TV shows, the movies. It just feels so belabored. Whereas I feel like what I love about YouTube is it just feels so authentic and raw and honest. It doesn't feel like someone edited it or they're scripting themselves or they're trying to make it perfect. It just feels like you're really genuinely talking to someone and it's honest. Obviously there's different like YouTube formats, but I think a lot of people who watch YouTube feel the same way. Like it's just we prefer it over scripted programming. And I mean, the ratings for like TV and movies have like plummeted, so I don't think I'm the only one who feels this way. And so that tells you all you need to know, that there's something in the rawness, there's something in the truth and the honesty that people actually crave. So maybe you can tell yourself that like, yeah, it is good enough. Actually, it's great. And the more raw it is, the better, you know? Like I'm sure we've had those conversations too. Like when you think about times that maybe someone's tried to talk to you, like maybe someone's hitting on you or flirting with you and they come up to you and it's almost like they had a script in their head, you know? Sometimes if it's like a guy talking to you, he might have read like a pickup artist manual or something like that, and they'll like say the line that they, you know, they might have rehearsed. And even though you might feel sorry for them, it just feels so awkward and horrible. And you're like, what are you even doing? Like, you know, you can just feel the rehearsal. You can feel the nerves. You can feel the tension. And then you might have someone walk up to you and tell you something like totally random, like not rehearsed at all. And it might even be a weird thing to say. Like it might be, you know, kind of a strange opening. But at the same time, they're just chill about it. They're relaxed, no problem. Yeah, I mentioned this before, but like I think in another reading, but one time I was in a store and when I walked in, there was a bird that was caught up in the like rafters of the like cart aisles, the cart section, and it was like there was all this commotion. People were like gathered around. Everyone was gathered around. There was like, I don't know, 5 people from the department store and then a bunch of customers, and everyone's like screaming and trying to get the bird down. And I was like, oh my God. But I was in a rush, and I really couldn't add anything to it. So I was just like, okay, I'm just gonna like go get my thing because I was like in a little bit of a hurry. So I went in, grabbed my item, went over to check out, and the lady started checking me out. And I said something like, wow, that bird flew right in, or something like that. Or like, oh my God, that bird is really stuck. And the lady looked at me like I was like actually crazy. And in that moment, I realized she had no idea what I was talking about. Somehow she had missed all the commotion. I don't know if it was like because it was in that technically second other room, you know, there's like the doors that separate the cart room from the regular store. So she looked at me like I had like 3 heads, or like I was an escapee from like a mental asylum. Like she was like, uh-huh. And I realized then how crazy what I had said sounded. If you didn't know there was a bird stuck in the cart room, that you would just think I was like actually insane and had just come up and said like, wow, bird flew in crazy or something like that. And then I told her, I was like, oh, by the way, like a bird was stuck in the cart room. And she was like, oh, okay. And then you could see her kind of process. But we ended up actually having a really nice conversation. And afterwards, when I went to my car, I kind of like laughed because I was like, oh my God, what an absurd thing to say to someone. If you don't know what's going on. But it's like, because I was like chill the whole time, we ended up having a great talk, you know? And I think that's so true. It's like, if you can open a conversation with something as crazy as, wow, that bird stuck in the rafters or something like that, then you can open a conversation with anything, you know what I mean? So you might as well just do it. So if there's something you're nervous about, think of that ridiculous opening and think of me saying to this lady and the look of utter horror on her face as she thought, oh my God, I'm talking to someone who's like clearly mentally not here. And think of the fact that it ended up being a great talk and we ended up being really friendly with each other. So, you know what? Like, don't overthink. You know what I mean? So let's get into some astrology dice for pile number 2. So we got Mars, more Mars energy, Capricorn, and then the 8th house. So we kind of have double Mars. We have Aries and Scorpio, and then also, of course, Scorpio is also ruled by Pluto. And then we have Capricorn ruled by Saturn. So I feel like the thing all these 3 signs have in common is they're very bold and tend to go after exactly what they want. They tend to not, like I said, second guess themselves, be in their head. Capricorn is the mountain goat and it will just pick its way to the top of the mountain slowly. That's why Mars is exalted there. Then we have Aries. Aries is the ram. It literally just rushes into battle, not even caring if it's going to break its skull. If it wants something, it just goes for it full force. Then we have the 8th house Scorpion and Scorpio, which is ruled by the Scorpion, which, you know, will warn its, you know, sometimes it's not going to sting right at first, but if you mess with it, it will sting you, and that's it. Either way, all 3 signs really take no prisoners, go after what they want. They, you know, they don't kind of worry about how other people perceive them or what other people will think about it or other people's reactions to things. I feel like with a lot of you guys, and they're all kind of like selfish signs, you know, they're kind of like more self-focused or interior focused than focusing on like what others think or how others are going to react or what others have to say about it. So I feel like this is this call to kind of embody this Emperor Mars energy of just being a little bit selfish and realizing with this Magician card that y'all can have whatever you want. You can make so many amazing things happen for yourself, but it's like you're gonna have to be the one to take that step over the bridge and do something a little out of the box or do something a little unpopular or unexpected. Only you can be the one to make that choice for yourself. Only you can be the one to go after your dreams. No one else can do that for you. So whatever this is that you're wanting to bring in, wanting to manifest, I feel like your guides, your spirit is just calling on you to be really bold with it. And then I feel like you're going to be surprised and shocked by how successfully it goes, how amazing your able to manifest this, how quickly it happens, and just that you have massive success. You're going to be like, I did this? I can't believe it. I can't believe it was this easy. I can't believe I stressed out about it. Kind of like a project you put off doing, like, oh, I know I have to mop this kitchen, but you like put off doing it, and then you actually do it and it takes you 5 minutes. You know what I mean? So I feel like for you, whatever this is, like, go do it today. Let's get started. Let's get it finished. Because I think it's going to be really, really good and you're going to have so much success with it. So I really hope that helped pile 2. Let me know if it did in the comments. You know how much I love hearing from you guys, love hearing your thoughts, your stories, your observations. So definitely let me know. Also, make sure to subscribe. And hit the like button, please. That always helps. Also, make sure to turn on notifications, hit that little bell so you can find out as soon as I post next. And if you guys want to see more of my content, then be sure to head to my Patreon where I post all my additional readings. Just posted one all about what is waiting for you to align with it. And then before that, a platonic, no contact reading. But there's lots of readings over on Patreon. There are love readings, tipsy readings, 18 plus readings, spiritual readings, future life, past life, money, career. I mean, every topic under the sun. We really cover so many topics and new ones go up all the time. So if you would like to join our little community on Patreon, I would love to have you. And the link for that is underneath the timestamps in the comments and the description. And if you guys want to get a private one-on-one reading with me, you can also get that at my website, briarrosetarot.com. And you can sign up for a half hour or a full hour-long session with me, have me pull tarot for you, read your astrology, channel mediumship, or intuitively for you. You can do a year ahead reading, a love reading, a career reading. You really get to choose what we talk about during your time. So, yeah, within reason, you can ask me basically whatever. So if you'd like to get that, then head to my website, briarrosetarot.com, and the link for that is in my description. Thank you guys so much for watching. I am sending you so much love and light, and I'll be back again very soon for another reading. Take care, guys, and I'll see you soon. Bye. Hey Pile 3, welcome to your reading. So for your opening cards, you guys got Fool's Embrace, Transmuting Pain, Hollow Bone, Teachability, and Netcaster, Preparations Come to Fruition. So you guys might really be surprised by the reactions of others, I feel, when you put yourself out there a little more. A divine download message I'm getting for a lot of you guys is maybe some of you get nervous or anxious about showing yourself to the world in some way. It could be literally physically, like you stress out about your looks or your body or your clothes, or you just feel like, I don't look my best. I don't really want to go out right now, or I'm just going to kind of like hide myself away and then maybe one day I'll be ready. And I feel like you need to know that like you're ready now, and you might be really surprised by the reaction that you get from others. Like people might be like, oh my gosh, Pile 3, you're freaking gorgeous, when you finally decide to wear that like skin tight dress, or when you finally decide to actually go out to the bar with your friends instead of being like, no, I can't tonight. You might be like, oh my gosh, actually, people love me. People love what I'm doing, and I don't need to be in this energy of like holding myself away from things. Or you have some kind of a creative project or idea you want to put out there. You want to make a TikTok video or something, but you're like, yeah, it's kind of cringe. And you might be surprised by the level of success you get with it right away. This is kind of similar to a vibe I was getting in Pile 2, but I just feel like with you, there's this message about you constantly second guessing yourself and really not having the confidence, especially on a physical level for a lot of you guys. And you need to know how freaking stunning and gorgeous you are, how amazing you guys look, and how I feel like your energy is just very magical, Pile 3. And I feel like the more you can actually put it out there and the more you can show to others, the more people are going to love it. So stop holding back or second guessing yourself and start just doing it, putting yourself out there like, let's go, let's do this, you know? So yeah, we got Fool's Embrace, Transmuting Pain. And there could be a message almost that some of you guys are keeping yourself in pain. You might be surprised by the fact that like if you go out to a club or a bar and you're actually willing to flirt, put yourself out there, talk to people, explore, you might be surprised that you end up meeting like someone who really likes you, and you might be surprised that you stop thinking about an ex. If some of you guys have been really hung up on an ex or an old relationship, it might be because you're kind of keeping yourself at arm's length from the world, you know? It might be because you're kind of not fully embracing things. And you might find that when you actually go out and start talking to people that you're like, oh, I haven't thought of my ex in like hours or a day or 2 days because I've been having so much fun. So it's kind of like, I feel like I want you to be in the midst of things. I want you to be in the thick of it. You know, I don't want you to be kind of, I just heard that line from that song. Oh my gosh, it's such a weird song that popped into my head. But it's, I think, Cyndi Lauper, Girls Just Want to Have Fun, where she says, guys, take a beautiful girl and hide her away from the rest of the world. And I want to be the one who walks in the sun, because girls, they want to have fun. So I feel like maybe some of you guys need to go walk in the sun, or like, let's go. Like, life is short. Put yourself out there, you know? And it can be sometimes that we have this tendency to hide away or to like work through pain on our own. And sometimes the best way to get over some pain is to bring some new energy into our life. So if we're sad about something, literally just taking a walk around the block or walking to a local store, and being out there in the world, or going to a local restaurant and eating at the restaurant and enjoying the ambiance of being around others, or calling a friend or reaching out to someone. But it's like life is short and the time is now, is what I just heard in my head. So it's kind of like there's no point in sitting back and waiting for a situation to fix itself, because we have to take initiative to fix it. And again, I think you guys are going to be surprised by how like receptive the rest of the world is to you once you start making these changes. You might be like, yeah, but if I go out to the club, like no one's going to talk to me. Everyone's going to ignore me, and they always do. And then you're like, out at the club and everyone's loving you and you're meeting these new people and you're like, oh my gosh, this is so much fun. Um, so I think you need to really stop being in your head or waiting until a month from now or a year from now, or let me just lose 5 pounds first, or let me just, get this in line first, or well, wait until this happens. Wait until I have this money. It's like, this is your life happening now, right now. And so you might as well embrace it and enjoy it and make the best of it and make yourself have a beautiful little life. Even if that's something small, like taking yourself to the movies, and getting yourself a big tub of popcorn and enjoying it and laughing for the afternoon, or going for a beautiful walk, going for a hike, starting that business, whatever it is, but it's your life. So you might as well start living it. That's the message I'm getting intuitively for you guys right away. But I think, again, you might be surprised by like how good things can be for you. That's actually a really good mantra. I love saying that as a mantra manifestation. Show me how good things can get. Show me how good it can be. It's a really great manifestation phrase to use when you're sometimes unsure of exactly what to manifest. You can say that, and it really, I think, works and is super helpful. And I do feel like some of you guys, like, you're ready for something. We got preparations come to fruition. So if there's been something you've been thinking about but putting off doing, something that you wanted for a while, but you keep being like, yeah, I'll do that. Once this happens, I'll definitely do it. It's like, you just do it now, pile 3. You are ready. You're ready, and you're going to be surprised by how good it goes. Let's get into some tarot. So we got the 6 of Swords, 10 of Pentacles, 7 of Cups, 3 of Swords, 6 of Pentacles, and the 3 of Cups. Really interesting combination of cards. But look, we have the 10 of Pentacles. That is a success and fruition card. And the other energy of the 10 of Pentacles that can be kind of interesting. So like I said, you might be surprised by how well this goes, and you might be surprised that you're able to make a lot of money from whatever this is. If it's a financial endeavor or a business you were thinking of starting or a creative project you were wanting to try, you might be surprised by that. Another complicated message of the 10 of Pentacles is that sometimes, kind of like all that glitters isn't gold, because the 10 of Pentacles, it can show someone who has it all, but you can see in this card, this is not like the Rider Waite depiction, but there's rats climbing into it. And it can show that sometimes, money alone doesn't make us happy. Like, think of sometimes currencies get devalued. And they just lose massive amounts of money. Like, I think in Zimbabwe, you could have like $1 trillion and it would buy you like a sandwich or something. Like $1 billion would be buying you a sandwich. It's crazy, right? Because at that time, or once upon a time, that was not the case. And you could have, $1 million and be super successful and be a millionaire like we think of it. But then there was currency devaluation. I could be wrong about it being Zimbabwe, but I think that's one of the countries that has that situation. So now, yeah, the currency is like basically worthless, and that shows that like money is temporal, and money is the value we assign to it. So it's not like suddenly if you get $1 million or if you have career success or whatever, that your life is going to be perfect. And that message can actually be really, really why can't I talk? Really reassuring, because it's like money isn't everything. So even if we're not there yet, even if we haven't experienced that right now or fulfilled all our goals now, we can still make a beautiful little life for ourselves, and we can still make ourselves happy. We can still choose to do things that bring us a lot of joy and bring us a lot of happiness. And I feel like some of you guys in pile 3, maybe you've been really hard on yourselves, or you have been kind of beating yourselves up about certain things. And I feel like, again, you might be surprised that if you show this to a friend, or if you go out, you keep criticizing your looks, you keep being like, yeah, I look this, I have this going on, like I need to fix my hair, I need to fix this, I don't like this about my body. And you go out and people are like, oh my gosh, you look stunning. You look so good. You look so fantastic. So I think there's something that it's almost like you're already there. You're already at this level. And it's just a matter of you putting yourself out there and actually doing it. I just saw something on Instagram of, I guess, the lady who founded Sprinkles Cupcakes. And she was showing back in the day when she was planning it out in her little, in her little living room and like drawing up little mock-ups of like the cupcakes and stuff just on pieces of paper with like marker, you know? And then Sprinkles went on to be this massive cupcake brand. And actually in the clothes, she looked to be, it looked like around 2005, 2006, around that. And then Sprinkles became huge not that much longer after. So sometimes those things can happen quick. I could be wrong about the timing, but you know, she didn't look like it was definitely not a photo from like the 90s or even the early 2000s in my opinion. The photos she was posting of herself planning it out, it looked like mid 2000s, and then Sprinkles was huge and everywhere by like 2010. So I feel like for you guys it's like there might be something like, imagine if that woman had never put out the Sprinkles cupcakes. Imagine if she had been like, yeah, the recipe isn't perfect. I need to tweak it. It's not ready yet. I need to go over this. I need to go over that. Then honestly, we would never have had the huge cupcake craze that was like massive worldwide, and she would never have opened her business. So sometimes it's those things that really don't make sense to others, or we don't feel like it's ready. We might want to perfect it a little bit more, or if we could do this differently, we could, but we've just got to put it out as is. And I do feel like it's something that you guys are ready for. Like the time has come. You know what I mean? Where there's no need to keep going back and forth about it over and over and over. There also could be an energy that you're ready to even leave something behind. We did get the Six of Swords. So there may be something that it's actually like, you don't need to keep dealing with this. If there's something that's causing you heartbreak, or something that is painful for you, or something that you feel like, I know this is toxic, or this isn't the right thing for me. Again, you might be surprised by how receptive your life is to a new energy, and how easily things click into place. How you were trying to manifest this, or you were kind of scared to set out on your own about something, and it ends up being something that just goes so well and is such a big success for you. We did get the Six of Pentacles, so sometimes that can talk about financially dependent relationships. You could also, in this card, interpret it as generosity. So it could be that you guys are going to be surprised by the money you have, the generosity you receive from others, the fact that people are willing to be your benefactor. And for those of you who are thinking of leaving a situation behind, it could be that this situation has become a little bit toxic, has become someone who's giving stuff to you, but there's kind of strings attached and you're never fully free, you know? Either way, I just feel like there's so much freedom that I want you guys to embrace. I want you guys to realize that this is your one life. So you might as well lead it for you. And if someone is holding you back, or has negative stuff to say, or is putting negativity in your mind, then it's okay sometimes to leave that person in the past and to forge forward into a new direction, and to start creating a life that we really, really want. With this Three of Cups energy, there is an emphasis on you guys seeking out the things that are gonna bring you joy. The Three of Cups is such a happy energy. You know, it just shows people going out, having fun, drinking, dancing, being with friends. And sometimes I think we kind of, when we have a big goal in life, we can kind of neglect the small things. Like when we're wanting to accomplish something, we're like, okay, let me focus on that completely. Let me give my energy to that. When really life is made up of those small, tiny moments. And I bet when you even thought back to like times in your life, they're really like individual moments. They're individual tiny little things, you know? They're like the time you went to this concert, or even something not as big as that, the time that you and your friend went to go on to grab like some fast food in the middle of the night, and you know, she ended up taking the wrong exit and you guys got totally lost, and you were like laughing the whole time, but you were scared also. Like those funny memories, you know what I mean? That's what makes life, and that's what kind of sews together this magical tapestry. So sometimes I think we can get stuck in a rut of really not seeking those things out. And you guys might be surprised when you start saying yes to things, when you start taking the time to go on like a little random road trip, or not just being like, well, I could make cookies at home, but being like, do you want to drive across town to that really cool bakery? Let's do it. That life becomes really magical. You know, when we kind of take the time to get to step out of our daily reality and the boredom of reality, the boredom of just like, I'm just going to have the same routine and eat the same food and walk the same street and go to the same places and get my coffee from the same place or just make it at home. But we can kind of push things a little for us, and we can go to that cool, quirky coffee shop with the like beautiful interior that kind of looks like Harry Potter, that it's kind of worth it. You know, maybe it's worth the extra charge. Maybe they charge a little bit more for the lattes, but it puts us into a magical mindset. Or maybe we're like, you know, I could totally watch that movie for, you know, at home, but it's in the theaters, so let me go out and get dressed up and get the popcorn and get the little peanut M&Ms and mix them in and just do the whole thing, you know? Or yeah, whatever, literally anything, you know. Sometimes it's worth it, instead of cooking at home, to go out and experience it all. So I feel like your pile is really asking you to say yes, and that you'll be surprised by how magical and fun life is once you start learning to say yes and taking those opportunities. And it might, you know, even bring you a different awareness of exactly what you want to manifest. Because sometimes I think when we're trying to manifest things, it's kind of like we can only pull from our own existing reality, right? So we can only know like, oh, that made me happy back then, or like, I liked this, so I'm probably going to like that. But we don't really know. Like if you've never had a certain type of cuisine, you can't really imagine it, right? Like I'd had Indian food growing up, but the first time I really had amazing Indian food, it was like a life-changing experience. I was like, oh my God, is this what it's supposed to taste like? It was like the most fresh herbs and spices. I was like, this is insanely good. And I still remember that moment because, again, I'd had Indian food, but I had never had it that good. And it was like a light switch went off in my mind of like, oh my God, these flavors. And we can't really imagine that until we've experienced it. And what Spirit actually brought to my mind is like this study that I think is so fascinating, that they did a study and they found that people who ate ice cream every day actually lost more weight than a control group that didn't eat ice cream that day every day. So they would make someone eat ice cream, and that control group had way higher health markers across the board. Isn't that insane? And they actually suppressed this information. They didn't even tell anyone, and they kept re-explaining it because it went against all modern health like knowledge about like sugar and, you know, yeah, sugar, basically calories, all that. So because it was so like unexplainable and shocking, they decided to just replicate it again and be like, well, let's control again. And it was the same result. Everyone who ate ice cream every day like lost a greater amount of weight, or whatever they were studying for. But basically it was a net positive with their health. And they were like completely shocked. And they decided to make up this like crazy reason. I forget exactly what they said, but it was like, they tried to like explain it away with like, oh, it was probably because they were more watching their other calories because they'd eaten ice cream. So they made healthier choices. And some insane explanation like that wasn't like actually studied or verified, but they were just so like shook by the fact that everyone eating ice cream was losing weight, and all the doctors were like, we don't even want to publish this. Like this is, we don't want to encourage people to eat ice cream because we know it's unhealthy. And I thought that was so interesting because it's something that I think sums up, I guess, an intuitive belief I've always had, which is like the things you do that make you kind of happy, the small things you do. Like, it's funny because also with longevity studies, they've done study after study that have found that a glass of red wine a day makes you healthier. And I know that's very controversial in the health community because a lot of people think that, you know, no alcohol, it can be healthy. But I think there's something to be said for the joy it brings you, for the lack of cortisol, right? If you're having a glass of wine, you're going to be more chilled out. And by the same token, maybe the ice cream does that. Maybe that beautiful feeling of joy and happiness and like childlike delight that someone might have after having a little cup of ice cream might actually just relax their body and put away all the cortisol and be a real positive. You know what I mean? Obviously, I'm not a scientist. I don't think the scientists would let me on their team with that explanation. but you know, my point is that there's a lot of things science doesn't know, and sometimes it's doing the small things that bring us joy that can make the biggest difference. And sometimes there are things that science can't even really explain. So it's, I think, so important to do things that intuitively feel good to us, intuitively feel positive, happy, put us in a good mood. Of course, there's something to be said for doing certain things that we might not want to do, but to be honest, I don't think those things feel good. Like, you know, when you're putting off like cleaning your room or something and it's a total mess, that doesn't really feel good. Like laying on your couch watching movies as you ignore the fact that like your living room is in total shambles and there's a pile of clothes and a total mess on the counter, that doesn't actually feel good. You know what I mean? Getting up and like cleaning those and just putting them in the dishwasher actually does feel good. And that's what I mean is like we can feel it inside of ourselves what truly resonates with us. So I feel like spirit is telling you that what's going to really surprise you is how good life can be and that you might meet your goals faster. You might, if you've been trying to manifest something and trying to make something happen and being like, why isn't it happening yet? You might find that when you take the gas off the pedal a little bit and chill out and relax, that actually you end up getting there faster and it's even better than you had imagined. So we got finding, family, confidence, and passion. So yeah, I think, you know, this is really about some of you guys putting yourselves out there in many ways, pushing yourself a little bit harder, doing the things that make you happy and find you and bring you passion, and where you find yourself excited, where you find yourself enlivened, where you find yourself invigorated. All those are flashing red neon arrows towards the things you're supposed to seek out. If it's spending time with family, that can be a real thing that makes people feel so much happier. It could also be leaving family. As I said, we got the Six of Swords. But I feel like what Spirit is telling you is like you're going to be surprised by how good life can be when you really start paying attention to your intuition and you really start seeking out those small things that either paying attention to, like, this makes me feel good, this makes me feel bad. And I'm not talking about temporarily the feeling of like, oh, it's annoying that I have to clean this, or oh, it's annoying that I have to like sit down and study, or it's annoying that I have to like take a shower right now. I'd rather just lay in bed. I'm talking about afterwards. After your shower, you feel great, right? After you study, you feel good. While you're studying, while you're in the shower, you feel like you're doing something productive. While you're cleaning your room, you actually do feel good. So that's not just like a temporary, like, it's kind of annoying, is not that negative feeling I'm talking about. I'm talking about sometimes you talk to someone or you do something and you just feel so negative about it. You don't feel good. You feel, oh, like I'm wasting time or I'm not really using things. And sometimes when you do something you know, even if it's kind of uncomfortable in the moment, you know you're doing something good for yourself. You know you feel good. And also, I feel like with a lot of you guys, you know, Spirit does want you guys to have more confidence. Spirit does want you to realize that like you're ready. You're ready to move into this next phase of your life. There's no need to hold yourself back anymore. You guys don't need to be in an energy of second guessing or doubting or going back and forth about it's not quite ready yet. Like, let's go. Let's do this. Like I said, this is your one and only life. I mean, I do believe we're reincarnated, but take this life seriously. There is a long waiting list to get on this planet right now, so you should be using every second. Let's get into some astrology dice for pile number 3. Oh my God. I love that we got Taurus, second house. So we have Sagittarius, second house, and the sun. So Leo, Taurus, Sagittarius. Okay, so second house Taurus. Let's start with that because I almost mentioned Taurus in the reading. I'm such a Taurus stan. Taurus happens in late April late April to late May. And that is the time of the year, at least in the northern hemisphere, when it is like the most beautiful. It is the sun coming out. It is the air starting to get warm, flowers starting to bloom, the grass starting to, you know, pop up and really come into full profusion. It is longer days and beautiful weather where it's not too hot, it's not too cool. It's like life feels like heaven And I think that's something people don't understand is like how truly sublime and deep Taurus energy is. And that's why we were put on this planet, is to really experience things in life. And that's what Taurus understands. That's why people clown Taurus as being overeaters or being too indulgent, obsessed with food. But the thing is that they realize that like that's why humans were put on this planet, is to like eat delicious things, to experience life, to have passion, to have, you know, really beautiful romantic relationships, to kind of activate our five senses. So a lot of people just think Taurus are like pure sensualists, too indulgent. Pure Taurus doesn't really have any discipline. But I do think that Taurus are masters at getting what they want and understanding that, again, life just isn't about ticking off certain boxes or about having some amount in your bank account that you can't really touch or do anything with. It's about actually experiencing. It's about touching, tasting, smelling, laying in the grass, feeling the beautiful spring air around you. It's about, you know, actually getting out there and doing those things, and about how beautiful that makes life. And that's why Taurus is ruled by Venus, planet of beauty. That's what makes life beautiful, is like those small little things, the small flavor of a beautifully made cappuccino or a delicious fresh blueberry muffin made from scratch. Taurus placements understand that on a deep core level, and they're very romantic. They kind of romanticize life. So again, I feel like this is this call for you to start doing things that are going to bring you joy in your everyday life, and to start seeking those out really ruthlessly. We also have the Sun, a Leo placement, which is all about putting yourself out there, all about giving to the collective by being unafraid and bold and being like, this is what I have to offer, this is me, and not being afraid to hold yourself back. You usually won't find a Leo who's like lacking in confidence and who's like, oh, I don't want to be seen. Oh my God, I'm so embarrassed. No, I don't want to wear this dress. It's too revealing. I don't want the spotlight on me. If you see that with a Leo, they're highly dysfunctional, okay? Because that's not their normal, how it should be. And I feel like for you guys, you need to be willing to shine bright. That's what makes Leo so special, is because they are willing to shine bright. They understand that they benefit the collective by sharing their art, their energy, their power, their vision with the whole world. So think about how the world and the collective will benefit from you being a little bit bolder, putting yourself out there, not hiding yourself away in some way, but like doing it 100%. And we also have Sagittarius, which is a similar energy, another fire sign, and Sagittarius is the archer. They always have new goals, new endeavors, new things they're doing, new you know, tasks they want. Sagittarius is also that bold and unafraid, like, let's do it, let's go for it. Sagittarius also loves to explore, loves to travel, you know, loves to try new cuisine, meet new people. So really, I feel like with you guys, it's like, let's not be holding up or holding ourselves away from the world. Let's not be second guessing ourselves or being like, well, I'm not ready to wear that dress now, but we'll wait until I like lose this 10 pounds and then I'll wear it. But like, wear it now. Or I'm not quite ready to like take this risk yet, you know, but I know I should leave my job, but like, it's really secure and it's really safe. No, let's do it. Like, send your resume out. Let's start this process. Let's start moving things, you know, because I feel like pile 3, you're really being called upon to like, why are you holding yourself back? Why are you being scared about this? Why are you being nervous? If anything, I think you guys need to be more bold, and you're going to be shocked and surprised by how amazing and good life can be the more you like embrace it and do things 100%. So yeah, I think that is what I have for you guys. Pile number 3. I really hope it resonated. If it did, let me know in the comments. I always love hearing from you guys. You know how much I love to hear from you. And make sure to give this reading a like, hit the thumbs up button if it did resonate with you, and make sure to subscribe and turn notifications on so you can find out as soon as I post next. And if you guys want to see more of my content, be sure to head to my Patreon, where I post all my additional readings. I just posted one all about what is waiting for you, and before that, or a reading about a no contact platonic situation. So what is that person thinking? But there's so many different readings to go through. As soon as you sign up, you get access to over 60 additional readings about love, career, spirituality, money, 18 plus tipsy readings, future life, past lives, family, friends, so many different topics, over 60. So if you want to join us over on Patreon, I would love to have you. And you can go to the link underneath the timestamps in the comments in the description. And if you guys want to get a private one-on-one reading with me, you can also get that at my website, briarrosetarot.com. You can sign up for a half hour or a full hour-long session with me, have me pull tarot for you, read your astrology, channel mediumship, or intuitively for you. You can just basically ask me whatever you want. You can ask me about love, career, money, just an energy check-in. You get to really choose what we talk about. So if you would like a reading with me, head to my website, briarrosetarot.com, and you can go to the link in my description for that. Thank you guys so much for watching. I am sending you so much love and light, and I'll be back again very soon for another reading. Take care, guys, and I'll see you then. Bye.